business automation and custom workflows. In this video, I'm going to take a slightly different tact and show you some examples of what we've been implementing for one of our clients. All businesses have some sort of processes that are very repetitive and become mind-numbing after a period of time. This leads to low staff morale and potentially mistakes. Automating these processes through a workflow is a great solution, but sometimes the workflow solutions off the shelf don't fit exactly what you need, or they don't actually go to the root of the problem. In Australian Money Market, we've implemented a great custom workflow, and I want to show you through that today. I'm Matt Grace, Managing Director of Flying Donkey. Let's get into it. Alright, first one is always going to be the planning step, and I always stress this in every video I do. You've got to look at the problem you got at hand and plan how you're going to address it. Now the problem here Australian Money Market has is have quite a lengthy account opening process. There's quite a lot of manual steps they need to get through. These are both regulatory and compliance, as well as part of their business process. A good first check is to say, is this problem large enough to actually automate? Because there is significant cost involved in automating a process. Here it was quite clear there was already a team in Australia managing and running this process, which could be significantly cut down if automation was brought in. You then simply sit down with that team and establish exactly what they're doing, and this will become your plan to approach this workflow. Once you've decided it's good to go and makes sense to implement a workflow, and you've documented what the workflow actually is, it's time to actually start looking into the problem and how you're going to solve it. So step 2, identifying the problem. Let's run through quickly what the actual problem is. Australian Money Market is an online cash platform, and they set up accounts on behalf of their users. Users will fill in an application form, and that will generally be emailed or sent in via mail, and that data needs to be keyed into accounts inside their system. Once this is done, various regulatory checks need to be done across this software. Various steps need to be done to split this form out into the platform to allow further on-processing down the line. There's a few key steps here that can be automated. Firstly, some of the document splitting. Secondly, some of the data entry. And thirdly, overall, just general maintenance of the overall workflow process to know where we're up to and how to share it equally across the team. All right, let's see how we actually approach this problem and what we did here. First thing we did was send all the new application forms into an email address. This email address then triggered off a loading flow that allowed these documents to be automatically loaded into a new workflow inside the system. This document was then split apart, a workflow was set up, and it was assigned to a team member. These were then broken down into a nice, clear, step-by-step process where each step can then be analysed and looked into. We then addressed each of these steps where we looked at the process and then we solved the problem in hand. Whether that be splitting documents, merging documents, sending emails, sending questions, each of these can be broken down into a single workflow step and addressed and solved in a more automated way. Establishing the details. I'm going to put up on the screen a flow diagram that I'll quickly talk through on what we achieved here. Alright, if we start at the top of this workflow, we can see where I talked about triggering the manual import. So you can see here there's an import of emails into the system, and it's going to go into a processing folder. There's a bunch of statuses and conditions that we need to do, as well as logging tables to hold all this information. Once the workflow is created, we then look to assign this out to a user, and users can then have an in-progress page on where they can see what workflows they have for the day and what they can do for the future. Now, all of these initial steps are fairly standard workflow procedures, but it's really the next 3 or 4 steps that allow us to customize to the client. Firstly, we try and link these workflows to an account. This is customization where we're linking into the account. We then, inside that account, each application forward has multiple individuals. So we split this down to link not only to the account, but to individuals. We then also link this down into a login. Now, some of these steps are being automated here, where once you link to an account, it will start suggesting individuals, and once you start linking to an individual, it will start suggesting login. There is then a bunch of processing around the document, which is around generating and producing a bunch of PDFs, as well as compliance checks that need to be done. On this page, we built a number of PDF functionality that allowed users to merge, change page orders, split, and save, and these were easily done and automatically linked back to the account, individual, or login as required. A back-end PDF generation process was then run to produce these documents and attach them to the account. And then various emails were triggered to the client to say either their account was set up successfully or there were some errors on their account they need to address. This is then followed up by a send email process, so we're not sending them out one by one. Now, there's a lot of detail in this flow, and it's difficult to convey without knowing the actual process. But the simple part here is that we've actually keyly integrated this custom flow into the business. We've followed the business process they have, and we've automated the steps that we could. In conclusion, Australian Money Market now utilizes this workflow on a day-to-day basis, and it's helped them in reducing their staff numbers on their team down, as well as increasing staff morale around not doing such a repetitive process. While there are some admin and repetitive processes still involved in the flow, unfortunately they're unable to be automated by computers. But because there's been a significant number of automations done here, there is significant benefits to the client by implementing this custom workflow. If you're looking to automate processes within your business and simply workflow solutions off the shelf are not doing it for you, we can help you build a custom workflow with greater integrations into your product. Simply assigning and managing workflows is great, but it's really digging into those key details on the lower end of the flow and automating those data entry points that really starts to speed up time and frees your staff from those repetitive jobs. Feel free to reach out and have a chat.